Alright, we're going.
Okay.
Welcome to Nothing Cast. It's the boys and Jess.
And
Ellen.
He's one of the
Elwin.
boys.
He's one of the boys.
This is Elwin cast.
Is Ellen one of the boys too? Yes.
Is that girl a boy? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Do you wanna? I'm not even like close to it. Yeah. So right now we're framing.
We're building part of a wall
Plug in the hole.
to fill in a hole.
So you'll hear. Yeah.
That's just part of the fun. Were you saying something?
Oh, I was saying that I had a hot take.
Oh yeah.
And I thought you would find this interesting. Because we generally have similar opinions, but I don't know about this one. So my hot take is that Spider-Man 3 is a better movie than Spider-Man No Way Home. And I want to know your thoughts on that. And
I was debating about that.
Yeah, I was trying to rank all the Spider-Man movies. Were you doing the same thing?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what was your process? Walk me through that.
So yeah, I was talking to our friend Katie, and I'm like, they're like, oh, what do you think of No Way Home? And I'm like, I actually liked it. And they're like, oh, I find that hard to believe. I'm like, so do I. But it's true.
Yeah.
And then they asked me to rank them. I'm like, it's that one or 3. I don't know. Like it went
In your number 4 slot?
Yeah, because it went 2. I think 2, then Spider-Verse, then 1.
I put 1 above Spider-Verse. I'll tell you why, but you keep going.
And then, and then I'm like either 3 or No Way Home. I'm not sure because I think there's a lot of good elements in 3, even though it's kind of a mess.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But I really like No Way Home.
Yeah.
And the other ones are not very good because you got after that it's then for me it's Amazing 2, Homecoming, and. No Way
I put
Homecoming.
I put Homecoming above Amazing 2 because I think it's a more watchable movie.
I guess, but I don't care.
You don't. Yeah, you're just.
I don't care if Amazing 2 is a nightmare to watch. Because I feel bad for it.
You pity the film.
There's parts in it where I'm like, oh, you really wanted to make a movie here, like a good Spider-Man movie in here somewhere. They just like weren't able to because the studio.
It's like the awkward middle child in your list.
Yeah, we're like, Homecoming is exactly what it wants to be. But
Did you ever see Amazing 2 or no? You just watched 1?
No, I watched 1 in theaters and I was like, I didn't really like it, so I didn't think the next one would be good.
I think
it's not very good.
Yeah,
but like I feel bad for the director because he like clearly cared about the project and like tried and stuff. But
it's
the studio was like
500 Days of Summer guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the studio was like, you gotta put all these extra villains in and set up all this other stuff that nobody cares about. And
500 Days
it's
of
just a
MJ.
mess. Yeah.
Pretty much.
But Homecoming is exactly what it wants to be, but I don't like what it is. So
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I was thinking for. Anyways, the bottom is so. Yeah. So my rationale is that, and I started to think about. I was going deep on this. I was like, what makes a movie good? And how do we? When people say a movie is good, what do they mean when
How
they say
subjective.
that? Yeah. So I was thinking about like subjectivity and objectivity when we're talking about movies, and I think that a lot of the time when people talk about Spider-Man 3 being bad, they only give subjective reasons. They talk about how they don't like choices that the character made. They don't like Topher Grace as Venom, and those are like subjective things, right? But almost no one complains about the filmmaking because it's great. The movie is incredibly well made. The action is awesome. The music is great. The cinematography is great. The Venom effects look better than Venom from 2018.
But it is, but I get why people are like, why did he completely change as a person? And like, what happened since the last movie? He doesn't explain anything. He's just like, hey, kiss me in front of all these people. Even though he's obsessed with like.
And that's before he like gets the black suit. It's like that changes him a bit. Yeah, he's still a dick before that.
It's like even if he never had the Venom, he was on track to still be the exact same person for some reason.
Yeah, which is So it's right. So there's a little. So that's kind of like the. I'm trying to take this screw out now.
Yeah, like I do actually kind of enjoy a lot of the dumb Venom when he's doing the dance and stuff. It does lose me when he goes to when they're at the restaurant and he like plays the piano and stuff. Before everyone else is kind of like he's in his own world and everyone else is like not sure how to react to him.
But then that's the first scene where everyone's like, he's great.
They're like, he's cool. Jump on that table. It's like, why do you? If that happened in a restaurant, I'd be like, what the fuck is happening?
Sure, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Oh, doesn't that happen and he like hits the bouncer?
That only happens after he like. But it doesn't happen like while he's dancing around.
Yeah.
It happens like.
I gotta drill pilot holes.
After he hits MJ, I think, or like around.
Oh, it's right. It's before
it's
that.
Right
before
before that.
He throws the bouncer up against the wall.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, because he's like, don't touch me.
Bye, Jess. Bye, Owen.
Bye.
We'll come back probably.
Kids gotta
eat. And so
but
here's
Anyway, that's. But like when he's on the street.
Yeah, but
I like that. Stuff,
I think
even
about
stupid.
So my thing is that I think that the movie from start to finish is like has like like No Way Home, it has a consistent thematic through line.
Yeah.
It's got like
it's got a whole thing about forgiveness and revenge.
Yeah, and
Harry's story for revenge parallels either wanting revenge on someone. There's stuff in there that's cohesive.
Where like Topher Grace is like he's like Venom is like this kind of like dark reflection of like Peter, where he's like the photographer too, but like a little greasier and like
he's just kind of a dick.
And he
always
yeah.
And
so
see Ben from Canada's Spider-Man 3 video?
I maybe did.
It came out recently, like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't. I don't think.
It's really good. And he's like, actually, I think this movie's really good, guys.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff in there that I totally agree with.
Yeah, and so
some stuff I disagree with as well.
I think what settles the score for me is I think that No Way Home is not going to age well. And my reasons are this, that one, the filmmaking isn't as good, so people are going to get bored with flat medium shots.
Right.
The movie's completely devoid of style.
Yeah,
all the action is good, but it's not great.
Yeah.
It might be a case of every action scene from Spider-Man 3 is better than, or any action scene is better than every action scene.
Yeah. There's a lot of like big fan service moments.
Yeah.
Which are super fun.
Yeah.
But
But here's the thing. Here's my thing about it is that all the stuff with the 3 Spider-Man is great.
Yeah.
But it's only in the last hour of the movie, and it's a 2.5-hour movie. So I feel like on rewatch, people are gonna feel like they're waiting an hour and a half to get to the good stuff, right? And so that's why I don't think it's gonna age well because as you're watching it, you don't know what's gonna happen. There's there's some build up. Oh, they're bringing in these villains, and oh look at that, they're bringing these characters. That's cool. Maybe they'll bring in what's gonna happen next. When you know what's gonna happen, though, all of that disappears.
Right.
And you're just waiting for Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield to show up. You're gonna wait an hour and a half.
Maybe you're having a bit of fun because Green Goblin's there, but
yeah,
I see that. Yeah, I definitely have to give it a rewatch.
Spider-Man 3, because I started.
No Way Home, because I'm it's too early for me to give this out of 10 or an official ranking.
Yeah, I feel like out of 10 is. I can't even give movies out of 10 anymore.
I don't really.
I've never been on board with that.
I do on IMDb just because it helps me track all the movies that I've watched.
And I'm probably gonna be way louder than you. I'm way closer to the mic.
Do you want to?
We can rotate.
Yeah. I'll make it a little bit more listenable.
Yeah. I don't mind my blood on the stud. We're just gonna.
Did you cut yourself?
I scraped my hand a little bit while we were. I'll go put on it's fine.
Just lick it.
Because it's gonna be in the wall, right? So we won't see it.
Yeah, we'll cover up the blood and we'll be painted over.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess what. Those were kind of the main points I was getting. That I feel like it's not going to age well, and I feel like Spider-Man 3 has already stood the test of time, in its own way.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I don't agree with all the choices either. I think that the pacing is weird, but you can say the same about No Way Home. The pacing is weird.
The pacing is also covered in that one
it feels kind of cluttered, I think, but I don't think any of the things that it's cluttered by are bad things. I just think there's too many of them, and so it's like a really great burger that falls apart as you eat it. Is the best thing I can think of for.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of little nitpicks of No Way Home that don't really bother me. Yeah. Stuff like how Electro specifically doesn't know who Peter Parker is.
Yes.
But he's still in the movie, and the reason is that the other villains are there is because they know who Peter Parker is.
And that was another
which they kind of just don't explain.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking of.
Like I don't care. I'm fine with him being there, but like you got to follow the rules that you set up in the movie. You know.
Yeah, it could have just been people who like knew Spider-Man, like people who interacted with Spider-Man could have been the rule, but they don't say that.
Yeah, and it's like, and if it's specifically people who know his identity, like where's Mary Jane, where's Harry,
why? Yeah, is it? The thought I had was is Peter Parker there because he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man?
I guess so.
Like, is that the rule? Like, is that?
Yeah, like it.
Well, of course you would know, but it's just funny because it's like they don't really explain that. And that would have been a really obvious joke. Like, if that's what the plot actually is.
I guess I'm here because I also know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The first person. I don't know. I was trying to make a joke about some kind of like you gotta put your I don't know. You gotta put the air mask on yourself first, or like I don't know. I need to. I'll think of it like after this is over.
And so that's the other thing is that I think there's a lot of like there's obviously Spider-Man 3 has its fair share of like weird bad things, but like I think there's a lot of like those like the term that they used on the Weekly Planet was like lampshading, where there's a lot of stuff you just kind of have to like put like throw a blanket over and ignore so that you can enjoy the movie. Where it's
for
like,
No Way Home.
For No Way Home, as you're watching.
Yeah,
it,
exactly. Yeah,
like,
stuff like the
where it's like, oh, why didn't Peter just say specifically to Doctor Strange which people he wanted to know
right before they start the spell? And it's like because the movie needs to happen. That's why.
Yeah, and then this totally other random thought happened where I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything, but I think it's funny that like No Way Home could almost be like retold as like an episode of Rick and Morty, where Morty is like, oh, I want to like I want to fix something about my life, and then like Morty's like, oh fuck, whatever, like because he's like
throw something together real quick.
Because like Rick's always drunk, he like messes it up. and then he's like, oh, I'll just kill all these monsters. And then Morty's like, no, they're like people. He's like, there's a million monsters in other universes or whatever. I don't care.
Nothing matters.
And he's like, no, I don't care about you. And he like pushes it like down like a dimensional portal or something like. Yeah. And then Morty like has to like. Say and then
save the day. Except that in a Rick and Morty episode, Morty would inevitably screw something up as well.
But what I'm saying is that I guess what that example proves is that Spider-Man is as dumb as Morty, and Doctor Strange is as dumb as Rick.
And both these characters are supposed to be smart. Yeah. No. High Top talks a lot about like, it's like I wish. Like a lot of like, I wish I cared more about Aunt May as a character.
Which is
I think it's a great. It's like I think that's a great choice. I love that she's his Uncle Ben. That fits perfectly. That like fixes the Uncle Ben problem.
Yeah.
But I wish I cared about her at all. They like try to make her a mom a little bit in Homecoming, and then in No Way Home, she's just like, go ahead, put yourself in danger. I'm fine with that.
Think about like, I know. Think about any scene that like he has with Aunt May, and then think about like every scene that like Tobey Maguire has with Rosemary Harris. It's like almost every scene is a tearjerker.
They're excellent.
Like, they're so good together.
Even in 3, the scenes are in 3 are good.
Like especially the one right before like the third act where he's like,
I heard her Aunt May.
He's all sad and she's like talking about like how you have to like forgive yourself and like even that shit's like, oh, my heart hurts. Like
it's really good.
This is Spider-Man 3 we're talking about. This is a movie everyone like hates. And then I had this other thought also. Sorry, I have a lot of thoughts. I'm dumping.
Go for it.
The other thought I've had a lot of time to think about. My last week at work, like this is most of what I thought about. And my last thought was that when The Force Awakens came out, everyone thought it was like
the best thing.
It was really cool and it was great and it was really cool to like. But the pendulum then swung the other way, and now it's cool to hate The Force Awakens, and everyone hates it. And I think the same thing could happen with No Way Home over time, where it's really cool, it just came out, it's nostalgic, everyone likes it, just like The Force Awakens, and then the pendulum's going to swing the other way, and people are going to be like, oh, it's a retread of Spider-Verse from 2018, it's riding the coattails of nostalgia instead of telling a good story.
All the best stuff is with the Spider-Man from the other movie,
and that's not till the last hour. And so I think that's definitely an opinion that could become popularized.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'll go both ways for sure. I think with Force Awakens, the problems became more clear with the sequels when then it was like the first one is like, okay, I'm like enjoying this and I care enough about these characters and I want to see what happens next. Yeah. And then then Force Awakens happens, or after the Last Jedi happens, and you're like, wait a minute, they don't know whether wait a minute, they don't know what they're doing. They're just making it up as they go. And so, then on retrospect, you go back and watch Force Awakens, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, there's like nothing in this.
Nothing gets paid off.
Right?
So it's just setups that go nowhere.
So I think that could definitely happen depending on whatever the next Spider-Man thing they end up doing is.
What were we even talking about?
I was saying, I think Spider-Man will be... Yeah, I think the next Spider-Man movie will affect how people rewatch No Way Home, depending on where they go from here. Because effectively what they've done is recontextualize the first 3 Tom Holland movies as his origin.
Yeah, but so, even as an origin, it's a pretty shit origin if you think about it. The first one's all about whether or not you have a suit or deserve a suit. Yeah. And then the next one's like, Iron Man's dead, we need you to be Marvel's cash cow. Yeah. And then the third one, he made $1 billion. That's the story, really.
Yeah, but like...
I'll get my hammer.
Oh, I grabbed it.
No.
I'll grab my hammer. Yeah, I'm not saying...
I'll just shove it first. What do you not?
What am I saying? I guess it's different than Force Awakens.
Shove it.
We're back. We did some hammering. Just go right back into whatever your point was.
So my point was, that I was watching Spider-Man 2 recently. Yeah. Because I started counting the number of scenes. I also have like a new take on Spider-Man 2, something I didn't realize that I think is interesting. But yeah, so I was trying to count the number of scenes that weren't from Peter's perspective.
There's some from Doc Ock's.
Yeah, there's a couple from Doc Ock's perspective.
And
there's one scene from Mary Jane's perspective.
Right. There's another one in the extended edition for Mary Jane.
Oh, and there's the one where
is there one for there's one for
Harry? There's a couple at the Bugle. There's a couple with there's one with Harry at the end. There's one with Harry and Doc Ock. There's very few scenes though, but they're all
very rarely leaves his perspective.
They're all to progress the story though, and so because I think that
they're more plot scenes.
Yeah, the one Doc Ock scene where he's by himself, he's just like building the machine. And he's like doing like a million things at once. Like he's like lighting a cigarette and pulling shit out of his Amazon boxes or whatever. That's something I thought about. Also, I think about it every time. Is like these companies that he's like ordering all these parts from online. Like, does anyone flag like his Amazon shopping cart for like being a death machine like instruction list? Yeah. Oh, we're recording. And so the last time I watched Spider-Man 2, because I noticed something new every time. There's something that when I've watched it before, I always made note of this, but I was like, why is that there? That like there's the bit where he's like he goes into like the burning building when he doesn't have powers, and he like saves that like random little girl, and then she like there's a part where he's like hanging off a ledge and she like helps him up. And I'm like, I feel like that's important because that wouldn't be there like by accident, but like what is the significance of that? And I started like thinking really hard about that. Yeah. And then the next scene is the scene where he gets chocolate cake from Ursula. Right. And then the next scene is the scene where he goes to see Aunt May and she forgives him. So then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 3 scenes in a row where people are being kind to him. Yeah. And so
and we're past the halfway point now. Yeah. So everything's gone wrong for him up to this point.
Yeah, and so
now things are starting to get better.
Yeah, and so then like another detail that stuck out was that they bring back the his glasses thing or whatever from Spider-Man 1.
Yes.
How his vision is blurry when he
doesn't have
glasses, and then it's blurry when he does have the glasses when he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that detail is important because it made me realize that like a lot of people's interpretation of the movie is the whole story's about how Peter was being Spider-Man for Uncle Ben, but now he's being Spider-Man for himself, and that's the movie. And I think that's very clear. You don't need to that's very much what's there. I can't really deny that. But I thought of something else, that the whole movie could be about his perspective, about how he
that's a good motif, good symbolism there.
How at the beginning he's only focusing on how people are mean to him, because it's there is a lot of people crapping on him and being mean to him, but it all those nice people and stuff were still there. It's where's my rent? Oh, hi Pete. Ursula's in the background of that scene, so he's not paying attention to her. He just sees guy who wants my rent. He doesn't see a person who's being kind to me. It's oh, I lost my pizza job, but no playing in the streets, kids. Thanks, Mr. Spider-Man. Go Spidey, go! People are cheering him on. Even when his life sucks, there are people who are being kind to him. And so it's just a matter of noticing those people, and so it's his shift of perspective. And I just love the idea that he has to take off his glasses to see clearly. It's just a really cool
good stuff.
Yeah. So that's my rant about the things I think about when I watch movies.
That's good.
I don't know if you've seen it recently.
Well, I did watch it. It might have been a few months ago at this point, but recently in the grand scheme of things. I tried timing it and seeing how many when certain beats happen and stuff.
Playing you with Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah. No, I just had a stopwatch, and it's interesting because it's almost 2 hours exactly, not including the opening credits. And the halfway point at 1 hour mark is when the Spider-Man, I am Spider-Man no more. The thing goes, it fades to black. It hits the hour mark. It fits back up, and then it's raindrops keep falling in my head, which I think is such a perfect. It's so tight. They don't waste a second of time in the whole movie.
But yeah, no, it's just it's a good one, and I don't know if anyone else has thought about that, but that's could do a whole pretentious video on what I just ranted about.
There you go, High Top. That one's for free.
Yeah. You don't even have to credit me. I'll make a better video.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I
Well, yeah. No. There's just a lot of detail. Oh, back to Spider-Man 3. Here's a detail that I think is really interesting. That there's the bit that it's just a subtle filmmaking thing that I really like, where I'm just half thinking about what I'm doing here.
Spider-Man.
So it's where he's seeing Mary Jane sing or whatever, and then it pans up to Harry. He's watching there as well from the balcony.
Yes.
One of those. But as it does that, the her melody stays the same, but
the score
changes to become more sinister, but and the melody almost sounds more sinister because of that, and it's it's this really cool thing that they do.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good film making touches like that. Yeah, I genuinely.
What did you say, Jess? You had Atonicization. Yeah, Jess went to music school, so she's gonna help me out with the music things here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I did that. I was being smart. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
You dishes.
Do I take them?
No.
Okay.
You do your man things. We'll watch.
Talk about sports and beer.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, all the man things. It's got man in the name.
We are men.
Yeah.
Men is what we are.
Oh, did you hear that Meatloaf died?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's Meatloaf?
He's the guy in Fight Club who's Robert Paulson.
Oh.
He's also
Oh, that explains that post I saw in this dad group I'm part of, where someone just posted his name was Robert Paulson, and everyone started commenting that.
Funny.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now.
Did I send you that picture? And it was like, you thought this guy was great because you didn't get the point starter pack, and it was like
the Joker
it had Fight Club.
Fight Club, yeah.
1 sec, I think I sent it to you, or I screenshotted it.
That's really funny.
I'm gonna find it.
Yeah. You said that when we were watching The Social Network. I thought that was interesting. That you're like, I bet there are people who think like Mark Zuckerberg is like awesome. And he's really showing them in the courtroom scene. When he's like, I can turn the Phoenix into my ping pong room.
Oh yeah, it sounds like it doesn't. Sounds like this stuff really doesn't bother you at all.
That's the point by idolizing them. Okay, so we got a picture of
Rick. Yeah.
Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, Scarface. Yeah. Is that the guy from Rocky Horror Picture Show or something? I don't know.
What are you looking at?
The guy with the
The guy from Clockwork Orange?
Clockwork Orange, yeah.
We got Walter
Rocky
White.
Horror Picture.
We got Wolf of Wall Street. Is that there?
That looks like the guy from freaking Mad Men. It's Mad Men.
Oh yeah.
Mad Ham.
Yeah, Mad Ham.
Rorschach. Yeah.
Rorschach. Yeah. I don't know the bottom right one.
No, I don't know that.
Let me see.
But it looks like I don't even know you.
Isn't that from the bottom right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing from Thor?
No, it's.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it could be.
It does look similar though.
I think that just.
Whose phone is this? The shark?
That just kind of plays to how generic the Thor films have become.
It's the. When you're a kid, you idolize Batman. When you're an adult, you know that the Joker is the one who was right.
Gosh.
It's like, fuck off. So stupid.
Yeah, we watched Fight Club. Like, I saw it for the first time because I was like, you always hear this movie referenced and you only hear, you don't talk about Fight Club, but like, I didn't expect it to be what it was.
Right.
And it was obviously like a good movie, but like, Patrick was like, yeah, there's actually people who think like that he was like right. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's so clearly like satiric, yeah.
Well, yeah, like when I saw it, I was like in high school, so I thought it was like, oh, that's so cool. Society should crumble. And
At what point did I figure out that they were the same person?
It was like it was like maybe 2 or 3 scenes before you figured out.
It was when he was in the. I think it was as soon as he asked Marla, like he's like, have we slept together? I was like, oh, they're the same person.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like an early enough, or I don't know when you're supposed to figure it out. But.
I think like as he's figuring it
out.
The
hotel scene, right?
Yeah. Like sort of as they reveal it, but yeah,
he's
like
same person.
when he starts to question, like.
Right.
But it's pretty good on rewatch too because there's like so many things where it's like, oh my goodness, how did I not notice that?
Oh yeah, there's like ones where like the scene where like they're like in a car together and it like flips over.
Yeah.
They get out on opposite sides than what they were originally in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll rewatch it, but I need a little bit of time before I watch it again.
It's great because you don't notice it because Edward Norton's in the passenger seat and Brad Pitt's in the driver's seat.
But the fact the car's flipped.
The car is flipped.
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't make the connection.
No, that's really clever.
They're still on the same left and right.
Yeah, and on a first watch, it's like there are nerds who are probably like, that was a continuity issue.
Well, apparently the continuity guy was like, this is a continuity issue. You need to change it. And they're like, no, we did it on purpose. So it's like
being edgy.
Think about it.
I wonder how many things in movies that like a continuity person missed that everyone's like, that's so clever.
Well,
and it was not planned.
Oh, there's that Shazam bit. Tell Jess about that one.
Yeah, there's this great video by the guy who directed Shazam.
I was showing you his YouTube channel a little bit. He did like how to make a like crappy Dolly video. I showed you.
Yeah. He does a bunch of stuff on YouTube as well. And yeah, watch the video, but I'll explain it. So there's this scene. You saw Shazam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the scene towards the end, where they go outside to chase Billy because he's running away, but then all the kids come back inside, and their I think it was their costume person was like So this is the last scene before like the final climax where they're like running around in the snow at night.
Yeah.
So the kids need to be wearing winter clothes. So whatever they're wearing in this scene, they have to wear for the rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they like all put on their winter coats, leave, and then come back in, and they're still wearing the winter coats and they don't take them off, which is like kind of weird.
Yeah.
But you don't think about it that hard when you're actually watching it. But one of the youngest girl couldn't be there the day when they filmed the outside part, so they're like, okay, well maybe she was just really slow and we just show a shot of her like tying her shoes to make it seem like it took her longer to get outside, and that's why she wasn't in that shot, but then is there when they come back inside. And then he's like oh see, and then he like does like a parody of someone like analyzing the movie, and is like, oh see, she has a clear arc because she's shown to be the slowest of any of the kids, but then at the end of the movie she gets super speed, and like, yeah, that was all totally planned. So he's like, yeah, stuff like that happens all the time where sometimes sometimes it was the director's intention, and sometimes it was just something that happened on the day.
Yeah.
For whatever.
Well, it's like
reason,
English teachers reading
Yeah.
like one sentence, and they're like, "This is the whole meaning of life,"
Right.
and you're like, "What?"
Yeah. It's like that.
This is about a taco.
that English meme that's like, the curtains were blue. Oh, that means that they were blue because of sadness.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, and then the author's intent. The curtains were blue. That's
Yeah.
it.
They're like, maybe that was her favorite color.
Yeah.
Like maybe.
Yeah. It doesn't go deeper than that.
Oh, I know what. What's that doing?
Dad's cutting drywall.
Not wet wall.
No.
The other stuff. Dry stuff.
Oh.
A lot of editing in this episode. I apologize for that.
That's alright. Give me something to do this week.
So yeah, I guess do you have a conclusion about No Way Home versus Spider-Man 3? Did you have any thoughts for or against?
I think ultimately I'll have to give it a second watch to see, because what ultimately won me over for No Way Home is the fact that even just the Tom Holland Peter Parker story like worked for me, even if it was just that by itself, which is a huge win. So like I'm not gonna question it too much. Like I don't want to nitpick it too much more than that, because they like gave me all the things that I wanted to see. But I think I do think it won't necessarily hold up as well in the long term. Because one of the things I've been thinking about is with Spider-Man 3, there's so many moments that are like kind of bad, but they're extremely memorable. And like
there's so many iconic scenes.
And there's so many iconic scenes, and there's so many like great memes that have come out of it. And I feel like that's almost better than whether or not it was good, is if it's like memorable and like memeable. Because like that's how you'll go down in history. You know? Like people people aren't memeing the Amazing Spider-Man movies because they don't have anything as memorable as anything from 3. You know.
And I think that's...
I don't know that No Way Home necessarily has anything to that level, other than memes that have been reused from the Raimi movies, and B, the stuff with all 3 Spider-Mans, but once again, that's not really its own stuff. That it's stuff from other movies.
There's certain things. I don't know. I guess I think there's a lot in No Way Home where it's like if you think about it too hard, it's just gonna get really distracting and like kind of ruin your experience. Where like there's like I don't know, like there's even good exchanges where it's like Doc Ock is like, oh, Peter Parker, how have you been? He's like trying to do better, and it's like that's from Spider-Man 2, but it's like it makes sense when you watch Spider-Man 2, but I don't know if it makes sense now because it's like, isn't he supposed to be like at the end of his arc, like he's like made things right with Mary Jane, and he's like gonna save Norman Osborn in like the next scene, and like he's like he's in his final form. He's like 40-year-old Aang from Korra.
Right. I still like it because I think it's kind of like it's a constant, like you can always try to improve yourself. Like you can always you're never like a full complete person, you're always learning and growing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of
is that just that's kind of been like that version of Spider-Man, like Tobey's character has always been that he's always learning and growing.
Like I like the idea that he eventually kind of figures out his relationship with MJ and stuff. But like that doesn't mean they're never gonna have like a problem ever,
Yeah.
So I think it works. But again, it's a moment that's taken from the Raimi movies. So once again, those are the most like memorable things. So
yeah. And so that's where I wonder how good the first hour and a half is.
I don't really care about that as much. There's
I don't think anyone
stuff.
does.
But yeah, most of the good stuff is the second half of the movie.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you think about so Aunt May.
Yeah, there's definitely some if we want to nitpick, there's definitely some weird stuff about if we cure the villains' powers, then they'll just stop being villains.
Yeah,
that's not how Sandman works.
Yeah.
That's arguably not how Norman works. He was kind of an asshole even before he got powers.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that, but at the same time, I do like the idea that nobody is beyond redemption. Everybody still deserves a second chance.
Yeah, but it's if you think about how
that stuff is
the
very
rules of the villains work, I think that
it's very oversimplified so that they can do the movie.
And I think that using those rules, I don't think Lizard and Sandman work.
Right.
Where it's you could have just you would what would have made sense is Topher Grace's Venom, because Sandman and New Goblin from Spider-Man 3 both got redemption arcs.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the other thing that's
at the end of that movie.
It's weird about
that movie that they were already in. That ended with them being
redeemed. Well, that's the thing. The thing that's weird about doing the villains again in general is. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Other than arguably Electro, all of Spider-Man villains have either died or been redeemed or both.
Yeah.
So
I do like the idea, the Doc Ock.
Is this one the same size as the other side of the wall?
Oh, it's just for this one. We can figure that out when we get there. I don't know if it's gonna be.
Oh, okay, you're just cutting the first wall first?
Yeah, just the first wall, yeah. No, it's all good. Yeah, I think because I like the idea that if Doc Ock's inhibitor chip worked, he would have been a good guy.
Right, yeah.
And so it's I like that I got to see that. It was just it was almost this fantasy that you have as a kid, because you're that's the whole point, is that he's he's the villain, and the arms represent his ego, and how he took his personal inventions too far, and didn't listen to the scientists who warned him.
And it's kind of cool too when he is able to overcome the arms.
Oh yeah.
By himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I will not die a
monster. Listen to me now.
That's a great moment.
It's a great moment. Oh, you know what else is great? I just got chills thinking about it. When he looks back at Peter and the entire background is the sun. That's a beautiful shot.
Oh yeah.
And he's just got that look of like fear and like remorse and like sadness and like he says so much on his face in that like one shot. It's like maybe a 6-second shot.
Oh my gosh. The director was probably like, act like you just shit your pants. Would that not be the face?
Fear and remorse.
Yeah.
Oh god. And he was like behind him was probably like a blue screen because it's like the sun, so it's like
that's an effect.
It's a really well done thing. I don't know. Yeah.
Practical, like they made a sun.
They just had to build.
They had to build the machine. They had to get tritium
Oh
from the jungles of Zambia or whatever.
Yeah, they never say
more.
what that is, right?
Yeah, it's a made up. It's a MacGuffin substance so that you can make the movie happen. Where are our knives at?
Yours is on this.
Oh,
What's
okay.
her name?
Mine's in my pocket.
Oh, great.
Where are the knives?
Where are all the goddamn
I
knives?
also have
Oh my god.
this one here. I thought we were gonna use all this part.
So this cell wasn't gonna.
It wasn't working.
No,
It's-
we'll try to knife it.
We'll knife it, or
We have little saws in our knives. If you can get a little
that's
saw
true.
in
I
there,
guess I
will
could
work really
do.
well.
I guess I could do that.
Is that what we're
What are
saying?
they doing?
What are we doing?
Watch your thumb.
Okay. It's kind of fun, like a Red Kryptonite episode of Smallville.
This is Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
that's
just
true.
get to see him
You
be a
get to see
jerk.
and be a dick.
Yeah. But then he also has to deal with the consequences of it. Like, it's
Right.
not like I was under the influence of the thing.
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault. It's like, no, you still did stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta deal with that. You gotta live
still
with
made those choices.
Yeah, you gotta live with that, and so you don't even know if he gets back together with her, and like,
Right.
part of you's like, probably not, at least not right away, because they just went through some shit. Like,
Yeah.
so. I don't know, yeah, I liked No Way Home. That's my synopsis.
Yeah.
Analysis, I guess.
Are you excited for Doctor Strange into the multiverse or whatever?
Nah, not really.
But it's a Sam Raimi.
It's a Marvel movie.
Yeah, that's how it feels.